Yo, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Now I'm back with another PoE 2 video. Now, yes, the hype is through the roof. It's literally, the hype train is astronomical. My hype for the game is definitely on another level right now. We're getting closer and closer. As you can see here on the live countdown on the PoE website, we are 2 days away, 22 hours and 43 minutes from the early access launch at the time of obviously this recording. Yeah, so it's the 3rd of December. I'm super hyped. Now the information just keeps on coming. Like GGG and Jonathan, they are pumping out information after information. There is a ton of podcasts, interviews that Jonathan is doing. Like I said on my last PoE2 video, I feel like Jonathan is just everywhere. He's doing so much for the community. It's really refreshing, and it's really nice to see the passion that Jonathan still has for the game, and the fact that he's willing to talk to all of these creators that are in the PoE scene, that have been in the scene for for a long time. And we had a really interesting. He did an interview with Scissorin last night. It was quite late, I believe. I didn't quite catch all of it live. I managed to catch some of it, but I'm just gonna briefly talk about some of the questions and answers that he gave, and also I wanted to touch upon, if I go over to here and I showcase this, I'll put this up on the screen now for you guys and girls. They finally talked upon the idea of doing the early access download, pre-download, because they weren't initially. Jonathan was saying that they didn't want to do this because of the data mining. Now, I do know on Xbox, Xbox users was able to pre-download the game a few days ago now. But up until now, so far, PlayStation 5 and PC users like myself, we couldn't download it. But they have said now, with PoE 2 launching into early access soon, we've had a lot of players asking for a pre-download. So obviously people that have slower internets and stuff like that. To accommodate this, we will be making the standalone PC client available for download at 5 PM on Thursday, December the 5th. That's PST, or at your local time. So for me, that's going to be December the 6th at 1 AM, which is for my time. But so if you want to basically just convert it from your time, I'll put the link to this forum thread in the description down below. It will have your local time on there, but bear in mind, guys, that is going to be for the standalone version. So this isn't for Steam, this isn't for the Epic Games launcher. So what they have said is, obviously after you've downloaded it, you're not going to be able to log in until the servers go live, which is obviously, of course, that's fine. The client download will be available through the PoE2 website, but they're also going to provide a torrent with the client download at the same time. Now, they are looking into making pre-download available for the other platforms, and they're going to update this post when that becomes available. So for Xbox, the pre-download is already available. There will likely be more updates on the launch though. PlayStation, the Founders Packs will go live 24 hours before the EA starts. And then if you buy one of these packs, it should allow for the pre-download for the PS5. So like I said, I'm going to have this link to the post in the description box down below, because if you're wanting to play on Steam like myself, or on the Epic Games Store launcher, you're going to need to come back and check this, because they're going to update this post when they have any information to tell us about the pre-download for those clients. So currently, like I said, it's only going to be for the standalone launcher, but fingers crossed they can come back to us tomorrow, possibly with a bit more information. Now, the questions, right? The questions and answers from the interview was really interesting. So I've got some bullet points here. It's a TL, TLDR or TLDW, because if you didn't want to watch it, you couldn't watch it, stuff like that. Of course, I will link the video to the full thing as well, to the full interview into the description box down below. Highly recommend if you've got an hour or whatever spare to check it out when you can. But here we go. So if a stash tab equivalent exists in PoE 1, you will get it in PoE 2. If it doesn't currently, you don't get anything. But that mechanic gets, say, Blight will get added, then the tab will be available too. Now, Jonathan is not a big fan of the quad tabs. Item art is too small and hard to see. He understands that their utility far outweighs this for most people though. Next one. Jonathan thinks that target dummies are a hard design wise because of resists or armors. So what about no stats at all? Or possibly a normal mob and a boss? Jonathan is not opposed to adding something like that in the future. You cannot portal out of boss fights, and you cannot change your equipment during a boss fight either. But you can log out of a boss fight. You have the option to spawn back at the previous checkpoint instead of back at the boss. So essentially you can log out and forfeit the boss fight basically. A 6-second disconnect timer does exist. So if you lag for more than 100 milliseconds, the instance is paused. So basically it's a lag death protection. If this lag doesn't resolve in 6 seconds, you then get disconnected. Character names are going to work exactly like PoE 1. No number discriminators like for accounts. After a character is not logged in for 1 year, the name then goes into the available pool. If somebody else then obviously picks it, the original character will be flagged for rename. You cannot over socket runes. You cannot replace one once one's already socketed. Runes are fairly common, so good soul cores are going to be rarer. Mana leech does exist, but only for attacks. Getting to crit cap, 100% chance to crit, is going to be a lot harder than it is in PoE 1. The highest tier of any mod should be something that you're excited to see, so that's good to hear. The highest tier of light radius is tier 6, so if you find a high tier rarity item, it could potentially not even roll light radius on it, so we'll have to see about that. Monster abilities like a triple projectile fireball, for example, they either all crit or none of them do. They are open to changing this. Player multi-proc abilities, however, have individual crit calculations. Bosses can crit. Again, they're open to feedback on this as well. Monsters don't have charges since they no longer grant anything inherently anymore. Support playstyles will be much more active than in PoE 1. Slash ladder does exist, same as in PoE 1. It was a throwaway cheat command before they made a ladder screen. 12 years later, there is still no ladder screen, maybe soon. They're open to expanding the ladder with time to kill for bosses, etc. That's going to be some API work. Name in lights exist. Server-wide yellow text announcements for first to X zone or first to X level every 5 levels. If there is a massive skill tree change, every character gets a free full respec. So that's good to hear. Really, really happy about that. Ascendancy skill gain sockets for support gems with character level late 80s for the 6 link. Skills that are tied to items roll sockets for support gems on the item. Low life is 35%. Force move works the same as PoE 1, so no separate keybind, but you can put it on your second bar. They're open to adding it. You can only use a tower 1 time, so generally there will always be more maps in the radius of a tower than what a tablet will buff. Jonathan does want to make the perfect ARPG, and he'll keep going until he feels like he's achieved that. So this is, again, he was super excited and super passionate, and this is what I really love. Like I said in the beginning of this video, I just love the passion and the dedication that Jonathan shows, and just, yeah, it's a breath of fresh air, to be honest. If you're playing the hardcore mode, your hardcore character, if it dies, it will then go straight into the softcore, so you don't like lose your character, it will just go straight into softcore, so that's good to see as well. Jonathan thinks they're going to be getting over 1 million players on the actual launch day. He doesn't feel like they're going to get over 1 million on the early access launch, but however, they have synthetically tested up to 1.6 million players, and they're going to try to tune that up to 2 million. Of course, obviously, this is going to be, real players is going to be, you know, it's hard to fully test this, but he reckons, you know, a million would be what he's looking at. But again, it could be way more than that. It could be less than that. We're just gonna have to wait and see, right? But judging on everything that we've seen so far, I would not be surprised to see 1 million players, just put it that way. There's going to be no XRCon in 2025. There will almost certainly be more in the future though. Predictive and lockstep networking modes do still exist. There is a new hybrid mode. It's predictive networking but tries to prevent issues that the predictive has, so like desync. It's especially good for WASD, and pretty much everybody at GGG plays on lockstep. So hybrid and predictive does need more testing and tweaking probably. Player rarity is multiplicative with map rarity. Guild stash tabs will not transfer to PoE2 because the guilds are going to be separate, which is, you know, obviously self-explanatory. And then basically they were originally thinking about making a PoE mobile, but that got put on hold for now because they wanted to have full focus on PoE2. So yeah, guys, I'll try to keep this as brief as possible. Really good information. I'm happy about the you know, the pre-download for most of the player base. Hopefully Steam and Epic Games, hopefully we'll get some information about, you know, pre-downloading on that. For me, it's generally not a problem. I have really fast internet, so for me, if I was being selfish, I don't really mind, I don't really care because it doesn't affect me. But for everybody else that it does affect, I think it's really good news. It will help a lot of players being able to, you know, have a chance of logging in as long as the servers hold. But yeah, the hype is real. I'm really excited. I can't wait to log in, fingers crossed, on launch, you know, on the EA launch. Hopefully I can get in quite fast so I can start playing with the sorcerer, getting a feel for the game, and yeah, bringing some more content to the channel. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this one. Like, share and subscribe, and I'll catch you in another video. See you soon. Peace.